Hey everybody, welcome to the Herd Fit Podcast with Dr. Sam Marie and myself, Coach David Syvertsen. This podcast is aimed at helping anyone and everyone looking to enhance their healthy lifestyle through fitness, nutrition, and most importantly, mindset. All right, welcome back to the Herd Fit Podcast. I am Coach David Syvertsen. I'm here solo without Coach Sam. I'm here on a Friday morning because I have a really, really special guest today. Someone I've been looking forward to talking to in this regard for a really long time. And sitting to my right, actually kind of far away, but it's okay. This is Francesca Gusfa from Ridgewood High School. If you've been living under a rock, she just recently won the state championship for wrestling, the first one since 1965 from Ridgewood High School. I was trying to put that into context about how long ago that was. My dad was born in 1954. He was 10 years old the last time someone from Ridgewood High School won a state championship. Francesca, thanks so much. You've been hanging out waiting for a half hour. You just got done training here at Bison. Thank you so much for hanging out for the extra half hour and giving me some time here at the Herd Fit Podcast. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. I'm doing great. I just did the hang workout.
Coughlin.
Yeah. Love that. Gotta love that one.
When I program Coughlin here, it's funny. Coughlin, by the way, is a hero workout that you have to compile 6 minutes hanging from a pull-up bar. And every time you come down from the pull-up bar, you have to run 800 meters and 30 push-ups. So it's like a penalty every time you come down. And when I saw you and your brothers signed up, I was like, they're going to crush this workout because the strong body weight athletes, the ones that are very strong in relation to their body weight, they always annihilate this workout. Like they can usually get it done in 2 sets. And Manny, your brother, hang on for 5 minutes and 20 seconds.
Manny and Yaya are good at this workout. Manny hung on for, I think, 5:20, Yaya for 4.
Oh my gosh. And you were 3?
No, I was 2.
2, yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna do 2, 2, 2. It turned into like 2. And then like 1, 1,
Yep.
1, 1.
That's everyone's goal, yeah. So, Francesca, I want to kind of just talk about some of your story of going and reaching the peak of New Jersey State Championship Wrestling, because I've always been kind of intrigued by your story. You're the youngest person we've ever had on the Herd Fit Podcast, not including my son, who was 4 at the time, but he was just sitting there. But you're also, in my opinion, probably one of the most accomplished athletes
Thank you.
we've ever had here, and even including all sports. And I always like to dive into what is your story, how do you tick mentally, what gets you to that stage? Because whether someone has a wrestling career ambition or an athletic career ambition, no matter what, I believe that you can learn from someone that has accomplished things at a high level like you have. And I would just like kind of dive into your mind. And because again, your brothers, your dad now, you guys come at 6 a.m., I would say 4 or 5 days a week.
Yeah, we try to come majority of the days.
Yeah, and like that's impressive. That alone is impressive to me. We have another high school guy, Jamie, that comes in the morning. I'm just impressed by that because I always relate to like I would have never been able to do that in high school. And the fact that you guys do that, there's something different about you and even your brothers and even seeing your father now that I like kind of dive into that mindset a little bit. So before we dive into some of that deeper stuff, let's just give some background information on how old are you, what grade you are, what grade you're in, and when you started wrestling.
So I'm in the 11th grade. I'm a junior at Ridgewood High School, and I'm 18.
Okay.
And I started wrestling when Manny started wrestling first when he was like 4, I think. And I was,
Wow.
and I was like a gymnast, and I think I dabbled in like figure skating. So I never really like saw that for myself. I thought I was gonna grow up to be like a pro gymnast. But then eventually I think I started doing it just because all my brothers were doing it, so like I might as well too. And I did like jujitsu when I was younger. I did judo, and so I had already done like all these combat sports, and so this was just like another like activity to do. And if my mom was already driving all my other brothers to this, like why not drive me too? But then like eventually it became like gymnastics is like 3 days a week for like 3 hours, and it was hard for my mom to drive me to gymnastics and then all my brothers to like everywhere they had to go. And I mean, I wasn't happy with it at the time, but the family decided that I was okay without gymnastics.
Yeah.
And so I started wrestling, And I don't think I ever really took it that serious because I was like, it started off where I was like, I just don't want to be here.
Right.
And then it eventually became like a, okay, like I have to be here type thing. And like I wouldn't say I was going through the motions, but for a long time it was like I didn't like have that goal set for myself. And then eventually like I think it was like one of my coaches introduced me to the idea. I was like late middle school by now. And
Okay.
and then like I realized that like I wasn't bad. Like I could totally do it too. Like I think that was part of the reason like I didn't realize I was like totally capable of doing all these things. And so like with a lot of support from my family and from my coaches and from like all the people I surround myself with, um I kind of like it helped set me up for that.
Awesome. That's really cool. So this is a good lesson, I think, for a lot of parents that have young kids, is to put them in a lot of different things
Yeah,
while they're
definitely.
young.
Yeah.
Because that's one thing that I pay attention to some of this stuff more than I used to, because my son's 5 now,
Mhm.
and a lot of parents want the best for their kid, and I always respect that, but they feel like if they need to get good at wrestling or get good at baseball or football, that's what they need to do all year round.
Yeah.
But really, all of your activities growing up probably really fed into you being a really high level wrestler. Like all that background. I didn't know that about you. And it's funny, I've been watching you work out for almost 2 years now. You've been with
Mhm.
Bison for almost 2 years. One of the things that you do body weight wise is like you move like a gymnast. And it's funny that you come in, it's like, oh, I had some sort of gymnastics background. It wasn't a long time, but those basic level, like this is how you move your body. This is how you strengthen your core. This is how you understand body awareness. I want to tie that to wrestling a little bit later on.
Mhm.
That makes a lot of sense to you. Do you look back on that at all with how good of an athlete you are? Take wrestling out and say, like, hey, it was because I was doing all these different things.
No, I think definitely because I think all the different sports that I did, they were all very, there it was a variety of
Right.
different things. So it wasn't like I was just concentrating on like one muscle group
Right.
or just like say I ran track, right? Like that'd be endurance
Yep.
or like power like a
Yep.
power movement.
Yep.
But like if I hadn't done other things, I don't think I'd be able to like move the body in the way I have to for
Yeah.
wrestling. And I also feel like a lot of like I wouldn't say I'm like the strongest person ever, but I feel like because I started out young, like doing all these different things where I had to move my body, I think my like my strength where I have to like my body weight, like move my own body weight is like not bad.
Right.
So I think that definitely contributed to that.
Awesome. Cool. So when did you, so that's like your childhood, your athletic career, if you want to call it that,
Mhm.
growing up. When did you kind of realize that, hey, I can do this at a high level. I can wrestle at a high level, and I want to, because there's two parts
Yeah.
there. There's some people that just don't want to do it because it, burns you out. It's hard. Getting to an elite level at anything, it takes a lot of time, discipline, sacrifice. When did it start to click in your head? Was it high school, junior high, when you were like, hey, I really want to go after this at the highest level possible?
I think it was, I think my 8th grade year or it was late middle school, I don't
Okay.
really remember when, but, I had I had done, like, all the local I had done local tournaments, I had gone to some more tournaments in, like, Pennsylvania, which is kinda, like, where there's a lot of, like, very good wrestlers concentrated there, and, and I think one of my coaches, like I was saying this earlier, had said something about, like, this tournament called Women's Nationals,
Okay.
and it was out in Texas, I think, that year, and basically, it was I was the age group I would be in was U15, I
Okay.
think,
Okay.
and what it was is that you could qualify for, like, a, Pan American team and represent, like, the USA at, like, go against other 15-year-olds from
Right.
other
Around the
countries.
world.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
and so, I think I that year I didn't actually win. I think I won and I lost, and then the girl that I lost to decided to go up a weight class, so it was, like, totally by chance that I was able to go,
Interesting.
and I was, like, a little bit in like, I was, like, a little lost. Like, not lost, but I was a little like, "Oh, like, I'm just gonna go," and then, and then I went, and then I remember talking to my dad about it, and I was like he was telling me, like, "You could, like, really pursue this, if you work hard." Like, my dad's one a really big, like, he really helps me, like, push me, and, like, he's the one that, like, helps me get up at
Yeah.
5:30 AM to get here because a lot of times I don't wanna do it
I
myself.
could tell. I could tell.
But, yeah, so I had, like, I had a series of conversations with him, and I was like, "You know what? Like, I actually really do wanna do this." And For me, so basically how it works is that there's the U15 age group.
Yep.
I think the lowest weight is like 70 something. I went 79 pounds that year.
Wow.
And then the next level, it's like tier is U17,
Yep.
and the lowest weight is 88 and 88.
Okay.
So I did that for 2 years. And then so now I'm U20, but the weight is like 110, and I'm too light for that right
Yeah,
now.
I was gonna say how heavy are
I'm
you?
sitting at like 96, 97.
And that's a huge deal.
So that's like a big
Yeah.
jump.
Yeah.
And like in wrestling, there's this thing where like there's cutting, right? Like
Yep.
people cut weight to get down.
Yeah.
So like right now, like this year, I decided that like my family and I decided that I wasn't gonna make the trip
Okay.
to do that just because I want to wait till I'm a little bit bigger.
Okay.
And I think maybe in the like next few years I'll be able to get up to that weight class
Yeah.
and be able to compete again, which I'm excited for.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like a big overall goal
Okay.
right now. And then I have some like not smaller, but I have some more like reachable goals
Right.
this year.
Yeah, I mean, state championship, right? When I watched you on stream, not this winter, winter of 2024,
Yeah, I remember.
and you lost your state championship meet,
Mhm.
right? And I remember texting you and your mom after that, and just talking about how it's almost required for you to lose to really reach your peak.
No, 100%.
You have to really take that punch and fail, because it just makes you work that much harder. Like, I always tell people, if you're always winning, you're just around the wrong people.
No, yeah.
Can you describe some of that? Yeah, because one of your goals, I'm assuming, was state championship,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And I want to talk about that journey of failing the first time through, and second time through, you come back with some fire in your eyes and you kick ass. And I would like to have you maybe just dive into one of the mindset of what was it like to lose, take that bump? How long did it take you to recover mentally? And was that able to fuel you all year long?
So definitely yes. So one of the things I hate most is losing. Like losing, like I hate losing. Like I'm upset about it for like a month.
Yeah.
So and I think like that's problematic, but I think that also helps me like once I do like get out of that and I, move on eventually. I think that's what really like lights the fire under me, and I'm like, okay, like time to like get ready and go again. Because so last year so when I was a freshman, I was too light to wrestle
Yeah.
at the high school level, which is
Okay.
it's 100 pounds, it's the lowest weight class for girls, and I was like sitting at like 75.
Yeah,
which is
that's
80
way too
pounds
light. Yeah.
maybe. And so I focused primarily on club wrestling.
Okay.
And then I moved to I had been in Ridgewood already, but I was at a private school, so I moved from private school to Ridgewood High School for my sophomore year.
Okay.
And the wrestling coach there was great. He's one of the biggest reasons I decided to go to the school. He's very supportive. Coach Watson, thank you.
Yep. Coach Watson, shout out. Nice.
And so I was at that school, and I had great partners. I had like good coaching. I had like very like regimented system. I was getting practice. I was on the boys dual team. I was the 106. And so all year long, I've been doing pretty well. Like I've been doing very well.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, you're crushing
And
it.
so, and then I got, I think, to the counties maybe, and there's this one girl that she like texted me like absolutely beat me, and I was very upset. But
Of course.
yeah, and so I had to like kind of like reset, and I got to states, and I think one of the biggest challenges for me is like the mental game.
Yeah.
That's very
Right.
difficult for me. I think like physically, like I can work out, I can do all these things except for running maybe. But um as like for the mental game is like the toughest one for me. And so I don't think going in that I had a bad like mentality, but I think I was kind of I was focused not really on the crowd, but I was focused on losing,
Yep.
focused on her,
Okay.
focused on all of that. And I tried to like push all that aside, but like I think it's hard to do.
It absolutely
I
is.
mean-
Especially, this is where experience comes in for athletes. Is like the way you're talking right now, you're talking as an inexperienced athlete, like focusing on the crowd and hopefully that you don't lose and all the other distractions, where the second time through, you now have that experience. So that's why experience in sports, experience in coaching, it matters so much, but you have to earn that. Like you don't get to skip steps. And that's why I remember talking to you after losing that state championship last year. That's just a step towards where you are. And sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. You won, that doesn't guarantee you're going to win the next time through, but it's still a necessary punch you have to take. And any experience in anything you do, whether someday you're going to go to college and get your job, like, you have to fail, you have to make mistakes, but no one likes making those mistakes in the moment.
Yeah, no. I think it definitely sucks in the moment, but I think that, if you don't have that experience and you're never really pushing yourself, and I think the only way you can actually like grow and like develop as a person is by like putting yourself through those like situations.
It's awesome.
And I think I think that's one of the perks of like doing not only working out but also like doing like CrossFit. Like I feel like when I started I was like, okay, just like another thing I gotta do, like, okay, like check off.
Yeah.
But I think like not only I feel like it doesn't, I was talking to my dad about this actually, it works out like a lot of different body parts.
Yep.
And it's like it's funny because like we were talking and he was saying how like some of these workouts, like we're looking at it and we're like, oh, like, okay, like why are there like 60 different things I have to do today?
Yeah.
But I think it's part that's important because it's like you're not working at the same things every day. I'm not like, going to the gym and hitting chest every Monday. It's like it switches it up, and I think that's important.
Yeah. How much has CrossFit really kind of, because I know the goal when I talked to your mom before you joined was like, hey, we need to get her stronger for wrestling. And that's been a key focus. Like, we talk about weights all the time, like what weight should you use, but we also don't want to get you hurt. We got to be really careful about that stuff. But taking that goal aside, just the idea of working out with other people, and it does get a little competitive in there, it gets a little intense. Do you think that's actually helped your wrestling career? Not even just physically, but mentally, grinding through and seeing the light at the end tunnel, sacrificing the moment for the long-term gain. Has that kind of added some fuel to the fire of you becoming a state champion wrestler?
Yeah, 100%. So, how I kind of see it in my head is like when I'm working out, especially here, like I'm like, okay, like I can do XYZ amount and then but I'm doing it for the next goal. Like
Okay.
for the next, so for me right now, there's Fargo Nationals in July, so that's my next big thing. Like that's what I'm like aiming to win next.
Nationals in July.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so when I'm like doing a workout in my head, that's what I see, like that's what I'm seeing
Okay.
when I'm like pushing through the workout.
Mhm.
And I think the competitive aspect is totally like definitely there. Like I'll be looking at people next to me and I'm like, all right, like you're done. Like I feel okay. Like I'm
Yeah.
and then maybe not for the running actually, but like but
Cross the running off.
for every like pretty much everything.
Yeah.
Especially my brothers, like if I like especially body weight workouts, like where I like know I know I can like do good.
Yeah, smoke them.
Yeah, like I'm like, okay, like
Let's go.
yeah.
I think being competitive is a skill, like mentally. I think that's something that people need to develop if you want to do well in sports or competitive CrossFit, right?
Mhm.
I think I know I've been doing this so long, and I've seen people that want to compete and they do well, and I talk about this, I call it the edge. And some of my coaches that I work with and athletes that I've worked with, I said, like, that is what needs to be developed, is you need to have a little bit of like an FU mentality that, hey, if I actually voiced what I was thinking inside my head while I was working out, you would probably think I'm an awful person.
Yeah, definitely.
But that needs to be developed if you're going to reach your ceiling, especially in an effort-based sport, right? If we're talking about golf, even baseball, a lot of that stuff is skill, concentration, accuracy, coordination, timing, which can be trained as well. But when you're talking about something like CrossFit, wrestling, football, soccer, grit means so much. Like how bad you actually want it. Like
Yeah.
to me, sometimes I've watched you wrestle twice, right? And then yeah, it was I remember I went to a meet.
Oh, I do remember that. Yeah,
Yeah,
the dual meets.
Yeah, the dual meets, and then the one was in the main Ridgewood gymnasium,
Yeah.
and the one this past one I loved more. It had the dark. It was
Yeah,
like
yeah,
the
I
ad
like
one.
those ones the best.
It was against Clifton. And I brought my son to that, and he had so much fun. But watching you wrestle, I don't come from a wrestling background, so I don't know that much about it. But I do know about movement, anatomy, athletic sport strategy. And watching you wrestle, your game is very much based on speed and quickness. That
Definitely,
you're
yeah.
just a very quick like a cat, but you're very strong. Like your lower body is very built. And the last thing that I noticed is you're very mobile. And it wasn't even just watching other people wrestle too. Like other guys, like flexibility, mobility, it means so much because you get wrapped up into a pretzel sometimes.
Yeah.
Like if your body can't bend that way, like I was watching a few of the positions that you guys were in, all you wrestlers, I was like, snap tendon, snap ligament, no way, can't do that. But being strong in those positions is a huge deal. And when you train here, a lot of your goals is to get stronger, right? But you also need to train different movement patterns, different positions. That's why I can see a huge correlation between CrossFit and wrestling, because there is almost too much variety sometimes. Like, why are we doing 60 different things in a workout? And there's always a method behind that madness, but it's the grit that you can train in a CrossFit gym. I've had people say their yard work at home is different because of the grit that they've trained at the gym. Have you gotten any mentally tougher? Have you always been tough? Do you concentrate on that at all? Because right now you're telling me, like, especially Manny and Yaya, your brothers, when you're going against each other in a workout here, there's a little competitive fire in you that helps you out. Have you put that into wrestling at all?
For sure. I think so. I've like I was saying before, I've always struggled with mental toughness. That's like I think that's probably the hardest thing for me.
Okay.
And I think that I mean, just from this year to last year, I think I've definitely jumped with that, and CrossFit has definitely helped. But I've also I feel like that's something that's I haven't always trained. Like when I was
Yeah.
younger, like I go to practice, I go to the gym, like I go to another practice, right? Or I go on a run. But like
Yeah.
I never I when I was young, I didn't really take the time to like sit down and like visualize.
Yep.
And like I think that's critical to being successful in a sport or just in a competitive environment, because if you're not visualizing it, then when you're there, like all this, like when you get nervous and everything, that never goes away. And so I would get so nervous like that. I very much struggle with that, and I still struggle with that. I get nervous before every single match, every single tournament.
Well, you don't look it, just so you know. You're very stoic out there when I feel like you wrestle. But we have Rafi's probably listening to this right now. Rafi's a mindset coach, and he's worked with a lot of different people. He's worked with me as a CrossFit athlete, and we've had him on a couple of times, and we'll have him on again at some point. But hearing you talk like that, the fact that you're saying that you're 18 now, you said?
Yeah.
The fact that you're saying that as an 18-year-old now, like you're ahead of the curve. Because at some point, everyone's going to find out the mindset is the key
Yeah.
to reaching your potential. It's not training at CrossFit. It's not learning a new move on the mat. It's not flexibility, mobility work. It's not running with a garbage bag. I'm sorry, I just have memories of people running with garbage bags to cut weight in high school. That's all secondary to the mindset, where we grow up thinking the mindset is secondary to the training. It's the other way around. The fact that you're already talking like that is huge for you. And I think there's so many resources out there now, Rafi being one of them, that can really truly help you reach that part of your upside. Do you apply some of this? Like, you're a pretty good student, and are you applying these lessons to, are you like hey, how I do anything is how I do everything type? Like, how do you balance all your schoolwork with all this travel and all these meets that you're doing all over the world?
So for me, school always comes first. That's my biggest priority, and I think that
Stay close.
oh, sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
Is this better?
Yeah, you're
Is
good.
this better? Okay.
Yep.
So like I was saying, school has always come first to me, and I think it always will.
Okay.
But I think wrestling and like being tough with wrestling has definitely helped me push myself like in school, and just like I think just like if I so right now I'm in high school, and like it's not I wouldn't say it's easy.
Yeah.
And so I think like especially when I'm waking up early now to do CrossFit, like that was a huge adjustment for me, like having to wake up early and like not stay up very, very late to do my homework.
Right.
So I think part of it, the problem is that like I procrastinate a lot, and that's like the problem.
Yeah.
But so I've been like kind of like forcing myself to like get stuff done like in the like when I can like
Right.
find time for it, like during lunch, like go sit in the lab, like I can go sit with my friends, but also like I can like sit with them and like knock out like a homework assignment
Yeah,
so that when I get home I don't have to do that.
got it.
And I think that CrossFit and just like I think also this is another point when I'm not very busy, like I am doing nothing. Like does that make sense? Like if I like after season, it took me a while to adjust because instead of having practice every single day,
Yep.
there were some days where I like had nothing when I got home from school, and I was like, I can get so much done today.
Yeah.
I didn't.
No,
I
yeah, you're
sat
kind
and I
of
did
burned out at that
nothing. Yeah,
point. Yeah.
I sat there and I did nothing, and I was like, but when I have like 2 practices a night and like CrossFit in the morning or some other workout, that kind of like forces me to like
Yep.
get it done and be more productive.
Yep.
So there's that.
Yeah, there's the on and off switch, all right? Like the CrossFitters and students that take school seriously, wrestlers, you're all three,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's like it's either all in or all out. And I do think I'm actually going through that right now. Like I have a little bit of like a lull, 2-3 week lull, even though we just opened up the second gym. There are times at night where I don't have anything to do. And I'm like, I feel guilty for not having to eat. So I'm like, what am I like? I watch TV. I don't watch that much TV at night unless it's like a game or it's background noise. And I understand, but I think it's important to have little spurts like that,
Yeah.
without losing control. Like, hey, have a night where you don't have to do anything. Like one of my brothers has been helping me out with something, and he says, you need to find a day every week where you're not doing any work.
Yeah.
And because I work 7 days a week, and I have for years, whether I'm on vacation or not. And I'm working on that, where you get to a point where, and you don't feel bad about it. You don't try to catch up for lost time because it's kind of just like restarting your system a little bit.
Yeah,
And
I definitely feel that.
okay.
I think so this year I went on a trip like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I was like during it I was like I'm not working out. Like I was doing like 2-a-days for
Yeah.
the past year and a half, and I was just there and I just wasn't working out, and I did feel guilty. I was like I should be like I went to the hotel gym. I was doing push-ups in my room. I was like I just felt like I don't know, I think part of my brain was like, "Oh, if I don't work out like 2 times a week
Yeah.
this entire week, I'm gonna go back and like be
Lose it.
like I'm gonna be like terrible. Like
Yep.
it's gonna be horrible."
Yep.
And I think I'm still working on that, like being able to take rest days without feeling guilty about it. Because when I'm competing, like part of my pre-match anxiety routine, I'm like, okay, like I think back to like I did all the workouts they didn't, I did all the runs they didn't, I did everything. And like sometimes it's kind of a little like nagging doubt where it's like, well, actually, like on that Wednesday, I decided not to go upstairs and work out and instead like sit in my bed. So basically, I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm working on that too, and I think it's like it's important because pushing yourself to actually do those workouts is what helps your mindset and like you in the end. But also, I think being able to rest and like take a day off
Mhm.
and like is not only good, but it's also like important for recovery because I've
Absolutely.
noticed like I've noticed that I started yoga recently with
Oh,
my
nice.
mom,
Awesome.
but I've noticed that like I'm like and I went to the chiropractor,
Okay.
but I've noticed that like I'm like kind of like I'm not as flexible as I used to be. Like stuff hurts.
Same here.
Yeah, like my like I sprained my finger like 4 times.
Yeah.
This one and I
Didn't you
sprained.
break your finger last year or
It's the same one. I sprained it yesterday.
wrestling or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like so I just have a permanently fat knuckle now. So it's okay. It is what it is. But like
Battle scar.
yeah, but I think that it's okay to like take time off and
Mm-hmm.
I just need to be okay with that.
Yeah. No, I know. And trust me, I think you are singing the song that so many people that have ambitious goals physically, and it doesn't have to be state championship wrestling or even higher level than that. It could just be I want to be really fit here at the gym.
Yeah.
We deal with that all the time. People will not take days off, and part of it's the routine. They feel like lessers of themselves if they don't go work hard.
Mhm.
But now that I think as you get older, you could start concentrating on some other things on these rest days. Like you could start reading about mindset. You could start, I don't know, go down to the meditating stage or yoga. Like that's just part of a maturing athlete to me
Yeah.
because I am impressed by people that work hard every day in the gym, but I don't think it's smart.
No.
It's just not. Like if you don't recover, it's almost like you're going to get less out of every single training session that you do if you're not fully recovered. If you look at it from that perspective, it's like, all right, I'm going to take that day off because that is required for you to get to that stage. In regard to recovery lifestyle, what what are your sleep habits? What are your nutrition habits? Because you just burn calories all day. A, you're young. B, you work out in the morning. Then you have wrestling. I mean, do you track how much you're eating and what you're eating in regard to being an athlete?
So I probably should because I'm trying to put on weight,
Yeah.
but I don't.
Okay.
But I wake up, I work out, and I come home and I have like breakfast, like eggs
Mm.
and like bread or like a protein shake, and then I go to school, I have lunch, and then I come home, I have a snack, and then I go work out, and then I have dinner, and then that's like pretty much
Yeah.
what I eat.
Pretty
Yeah.
accurate. Okay.
And I say I would think I eat pretty healthy. Like my mom does a good job of like making sure I'm eating like healthy stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that yes, I could like put down the ice cream sometimes, but I think
You gotta be a person though.
yeah, I think overall it's like it's okay.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think I eat pretty good. And as for sleep, my sleep schedule is not good. So
Yeah.
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 I need to work on that.
Okay.
But I mean, I think I average like 5 or
Yeah.
6 or 7 sometimes.
Yeah.
It depends. I think on days where I'm like I have like a big test or something the next day, like I'll be like, okay, like maybe not CrossFit tomorrow morning
Right.
because I have to stay home and study.
Yep.
Or but like there's other days where like I have to stay up till like 11 or 12, and then it's like totally preventable because I could have done this earlier in the day, but I just chose not to.
Yeah.
Which is like that's like a me problem, and that's something I do have to work on.
Okay.
But yeah, I would say my eating is better than my sleep.
Okay.
Yeah.
It all comes in droves. Like it's not easy to check every box at a high level.
Yeah.
Like, we do reset here every winter and we talk about hydration, nutrition, working out, sleep, alcohol intake, and that's why we always said like you're doing a great job if you're doing 3 out of 5 at a high level. If you're doing 4 out of 5, wow, 5 out of 5, you're probably a robot. But it's hard to be perfect, but I think awareness of trying new things too. If you ever feel like you've ever hit a plateau as a wrestler and you're training, it's like, all right, maybe I need to put some thought into something else lifestyle wise. Maybe that next thing for you could be sleep. It could be stress management. It could be a lot of different things. Changing gears here because I don't want to keep you long. I could probably keep you here for another hour, but I won't. When I went to high school, I mean, fuck, man, I'm like, how much older than I am? I mean, I'm 21 years older than you, which makes me upset to say. But I graduated high school. I don't think you were born yet. When I was in high school, girls in wrestling, it wasn't really a thing. Like it was incredibly rare. And you tell me, because over the past 5 to 10 years, I've seen it grow. And when I've been to some of your matches, I see a lot of girls wrestling, which is really cool to me. When did this start becoming a little bit more popular for girls to get involved in wrestling?
So I've definitely seen the growth, and I think the opportunities have really grown. And talking to some other like female wrestlers, like I've been talking like some coaches when I go to some tournaments or I get to go to the OTC. Like I talk to them and they're sharing their experiences, and they're saying like when we were your age, like we had to like fight to be on the team, or like our like world team there was like like 6 girls, and they didn't win cash prizes like the guys. I remember one coach telling me the guys would win cash prizes at like these big tournaments, and they would win like a blender or like a toaster.
Gosh.
That's like crazy to me.
Yeah, it is.
But I think it's definitely grown it is really fast. I think the level has also grown.
Yeah,
Um
I'm sure.
people girls are good now. Like there's some girls out there that are good. Like I know a girl who's in high school. I was on like a team with her, and um she's wrestling to be on like a senior world team spot right now.
Wow.
She's very good. So it's definitely grown, and the opportunities have um expanded a ton. And I think that at the high school level too, I think there are significantly less girls in wrestling than there are guys, but I feel like that makes sense because it's such a new sport.
Right.
And it's like not people bashing on it, but like when people are like, "Oh, well, like the level is not there," or it's like not like minimizing your like what girls do, but it's like, okay, but you have to like put it into perspective. Like your sport has been like boys wrestling has been around since what, like the ancient Greece? Like
Yeah,
I
a long
like oh no, like I like we've just started having the same opportunities, and like recently, like this year, like women's wrestling was added as like an NCAA, like there was a championship for them, like added
Yes,
this
that's
year.
what I mean. It's
As
definitely getting bigger.
Yeah, and like colleges are starting to add like women's teams instead of just clubs. So I think it's definitely not there yet
Yeah.
at the same level, but I think it's growing at a pace where like it's gonna be there a lot sooner than we thought it would be. And I think that's really good because it just gives the people a lot more opportunities, and it kind of like changes people's minds about things. Like you see it and you're like, oh, like they can't do that, or like something like that, but that's not the case.
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing that you might not even see right now, I mean, maybe you do, that you're almost kind of like a pioneer, especially in this area. The fact that you're a state champ and like your name's out there now, you're getting interviewed on this very famous podcast. No, but really, your story, I'm telling you right now, whether you realize it or not, is definitely going to inspire other
I
young
hope
girls.
so, yeah.
Because they see you, like we posted that picture on our Instagram back when you won the state championship. It's an awesome picture of the ref holding your hand. You just look so like relieved and tired, but and proud at the same time. And that, again, that's a result-oriented picture, and like, but that is where a lot of dreams start, is they see someone else accomplish something,
Yeah.
and they put themselves in those shoes, like maybe I can do that. Because wrestling, to me, you have to be wired a certain way to do it at a high level. Like you have to be very different than other sports.
Yeah.
And I'm really looking forward to what sports my son gets into. And like I joke with Ash all the time, my wife, that Brock's going to want to be a wrestler because he just wants to wrestle all the time. He wants to take kids down. He knows how to do some of these moves. I don't even know how he learned them. Not for me. And but they sometimes, like, what if he can't catch a ball? He can't throw a ball. He can't shoot a basketball, or he's not tall enough for this or big enough for that. Like wrestling, they might find wrestling and find someone to look up to and say, hey, she did that. I want to do that. I think it's a really cool opportunity for you. As wrestling gets bigger, like you could be a trailblazer for a lot of young girls that want to do this someday.
No, yeah, I really hope I can. I
Yeah.
mean, I think, I don't know. There's a couple younger girls at Ridgewood, and there's definitely so many more in the surrounding area. But if I can get a girl to just like try it out and maybe she'll really like it, I think that's a win, right? Because the more people and more girls that we get involved and that we get like support for the sport, the more it grows. And I think that also at the high school level, like a lot of schools don't have girls teams. And I mean, I'm on my school, like the girls at my school are on our boys team, which I don't think is a problem. But this year we're not, like, the girls aren't allowed to wrestle boys anymore. They made a new rule.
Oh, I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, so I can't be on the boys dual team anymore.
Is that starting next year?
Yeah. So which like I'm kind of bummed out by it because I like doing the duels with the lights and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
And also I think it's good to compete against people who are like stronger than you, faster than
Absolutely.
you, better than you. And so that was a really good opportunity for me. So can't do that anymore now, which is understandable because I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to make it so like teams are now like making girls teams and things like that.
Right. Do you think there's some girls out there that don't want to wrestle because they don't want to wrestle against a boy?
Totally, yeah.
So that's part. So I can understand that perspective.
Yeah, I can too, which I get,
Yeah.
but it's still a little frustrating.
Right.
But it's okay. I'm sure I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But yeah. So what you were just saying, so I'm trying to get more girls to join my team at Ridgewood.
Okay.
And I've gotten 3.
Nice. Let's go.
We're gonna be 6 girls instead of 4 next year, hopefully.
Okay.
But yeah, a big thing. One of them was like texting me the other day, and she was like, yeah. So am I gonna have to like wrestle a guy? Like,
Yeah,
is that
right.
it? Am I gonna have to do that?
Yep.
And I was like,
Fair question.
I mean, I didn't like. It's not a concern for me because I've done it
been
my
doing it.
entire life. Like,
Right.
it's just like that.
Just another wrestler.
Yeah,
That-
just someone else.
Yeah.
But as from the perspective of someone who's just getting into it, I can totally see why that's
Absolutely.
like.
It's one of my first questions when
Yeah.
I didn't know how the system worked when I
Yeah.
watched you the first time. I didn't want to ask. I didn't want to be that guy. I didn't want to bother your parents either. So I just went and I was like, all right, let's see what happens. But I'm not used to that. I haven't done it for 10 years, but it's a
Yeah.
very natural question for people to have.
Yeah, no, totally. And I think that that's one of the big factors that maybe a lot of girls are like, wait, I don't know if I want to do that.
Right.
And so I think it's important. It's definitely important, like if you're if you grow up with a combat sport, you're more comfortable with it. And
Mhm.
I don't have that perspective where I didn't come from like a combat sport.
Gotcha.
So I don't like I try to put myself in their shoes, but I can't really like do that because I just have never done it. But I totally see where they're coming from. And so for the girls this year, I'm gonna try to host like some practices with them
That's awesome.
before like the summer, maybe even during the summer too, just to get them kind of like acclimated to wrestling, being on a mat, so that they have like one less thing to worry about when
Yeah.
they like come back next season.
Yeah.
And so
That's smart.
yeah, hopefully like we can hit the ground running then. And so and then maybe at that point they'd be okay with like going with other guys. And even if they aren't, that's totally okay, because now we're at the point where there's so many of us that
Yeah.
we could all just rotate in.
Yeah, and hopefully the numbers just keep multiplying. I mean, that's
Yeah,
how
that's the goal, yeah.
that's how these things grow. That's how CrossFit grew. That's how our gym grew. It
Mhm.
started off with just a few people, but eventually it becomes something that other people are seeing because of people like yourself, and they want to be a part of.
Yeah.
And I think it's a huge opportunity for you and for the girls out there that are kind of on the fence with, hey, I want to do something, but I don't want to do track. I don't want to do basketball. I think it's probably the perfect time to get involved in it too at the early stages, just because you get so much attention, and
Mhm.
it's probably a lower barrier of entry. Like in 10 years, 20 years from now, when that gym's named after you, right? It's probably going to be harder to start because it'll be more competitive at that
Yeah,
time. This is probably the
definitely,
perfect
yeah.
time to start.
No, yeah, I would say, I mean, I think any time is a good time to start wrestling.
Yeah.
But I think that now would be a very good time also because um I think that the team's like small enough right now where it's like everybody knows everybody. Like
Yeah.
it's a good community. Like
Yeah.
there were 4 girls, including myself, last
Mhm.
year on our team. We all know each other. We're all friends.
That's awesome.
And I'm not saying I'm not saying I don't see that like camaraderie on the guys team, but I'm saying I think we're a lot like more tight knit and closer than they are all with each other.
Yeah.
And I think but I also think it's important like not to distinguish like that's the guys team and this is the girls team. Like I think we're all one big team really at the end of the day because we all do practice with each other. But I do think that there's like you do feel a lot closer with, the girls that are
Yeah.
on your team.
I believe that. Yeah. I mean, you kind of just bond together.
Yeah.
It's kind of like your own little, like, I don't know, like your own like group of rebels almost. Like you guys are just like different. Like, and that's so cool to me. Because I think you guys also can relate to each other and what you guys are going through mentally a bit more.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we're all kind of all struggling with some of the same stuff, and the fact that you do it together. I've always said that about anything sports. This is why I want my son to play sports. It's not because I think, I want him to
Go pro.
go pro or live vicariously through him. It's like I think that it creates bonds that you can't get anywhere else. Like when you physically struggle with each other and see each other go through ups and downs, we see that here all the time. How people they struggle to get through stuff, and
Yeah.
no one likes to struggle. Obviously, no one likes to lose in the state championship, but it can bond you tighter with other people, and those relationships to me are some of the most genuine and like realist relationships you're ever gonna have. Like I can look back on my career from playing baseball a lot when I was a little kid, and like those relationships were as strong as any I had in my entire life,
Yeah.
and like outside of my family. And I feel that same way about CrossFit sport. Is some of those relationships were just the tightest I'd ever been with someone. Last thing here, if I had, guys and girls, wrestlers kind of sitting in front of you right now, and you were able to just give them, from your experience, just a little bit of advice on, hey, you're entering high school or you're entering junior high. They could be Yaya's age, Manny, whatever.
Yeah.
What would you say to them in terms of like, hey, what are a couple of things I would really want you guys to stay focused on as you start that journey?
So I would definitely say the mindset thing. I think
Get on that
yeah, get on
first.
that as fast as you can
Okay.
because it took me a while to I mean, I don't think I'm there yet, but it
Okay.
took me a while to like okay, like I have to if I want to win and if I want to put myself in a position where I'm going to be successful, I have to like visualize. Like I have to take the time like a month before, like, every night, I have to, like, close my eyes, like, I have to, like, picture myself, like, going through it, like, wrestling, getting my hand raised, getting my medal, like, winning, like, I have to visualize all of that, and, I think I mean, I'm sure the process is different for everybody, but make sure like, you have to make sure that you're doing something mentally because I get a lot of like anxiety, like test anxiety, like performance anxiety. And so being like relaxing is very hard for me when I'm about to be in a like high pressure situation. So being able to like mentally focus and like have something I can like draw back on and realize that like I've basically done it before in my head, I can do it again now
Right.
is really important.
Awesome.
And then also I would say like, the general stuff, nutrition,
Training.
make sure you're training and working out and all the things like that. But I also think like it's it's okay. Like this was like a big theme from earlier. It's okay to like lose. Like
Yeah.
it sucks,
Yeah.
but I think it's okay because like this year I was um coming off from last year, I was like, okay, like I'm winning this year. Like,
Yeah.
okay, like enough. But I think I came off of last year and this year I was doing very well and I was all the support I got from my coaches, my family, they're all very helpful and I was putting in the work because I really wanted to win this year. And at regions, which is like the tournament before you get to states,
Mhm.
I lost.
Yep. Yeah.
That was I think my no, I had lost to guys during the season, but that was my first loss against a girl this season.
Okay.
And I was like, oh,
Yep.
oh, okay.
So I can still lose.
So, oh, okay. And I was like, I think I was kind of like getting complacent because I was we were saying earlier, if you're not being challenged and you're not like around the right people. And I would say like I was getting challenged,
Yeah.
but not like in like that like deep, gritty, like
Yep.
you have to like tough it out type
Yeah.
way. And so I was like, that was like a complete reset for me. I was upset for like a day and a half, and then I was like, okay, like States is in like 2 weeks, time to snap out of it. And when I wrestled her second round at States, and I wrestled her, and I was like, I have literally like nothing to lose. Like I already lost, and I just wrestled. Like it was great.
Yeah.
Um,
So again, that brought you to your peak losing.
yeah, and I think that's important, and I think that's something I'm gonna struggle with, like, I guess this coming year. Like, also, I think it's harder to like stay like at the top
Yep.
than it is to be chasing someone at the top.
100%.
I think that's gonna be the
I would
hardest.
relate that to even a little workout that you just did. It's so hard to stay in front of everyone
Yeah,
because people are coming after you where you
right.
don't have anyone to chase after. I completely agree.
Yeah, and or even if it's like you like especially if it's like you've already done it once, it's like in my head, I'm like, oh, I can do it again, I can do it again. But it's like you can't underestimate people. Like for me, it's harder. It's harder going against someone I've beaten before when it was close than someone I've never gone with before. Like,
Absolutely.
because it messes with me mentally, and I think that's another really important thing. Like you can't sleep on anybody. Like you can't underestimate anybody because the girl that had beat me at Regions, I had beaten her like 2 times before.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you right now what happened. You were in her crosshairs.
Yeah,
Like she thought about you at bedtime. She thought about you when she was training. She's like, I'm going to take this chick down when I see her because we're all like that. If you find someone that you lose to, like you're gonna think about that a long
no,
time.
definitely.
And one thing about being at a high level is you, Francesca, are gonna get everyone's best effort because that you have a name now. That
Yeah.
you're known. You're good at what you do. And wrestlers train a lot for years for that one moment against that one person that is at the peak, and that's who you are. And that adds a little bit of pressure to you. But I think how far along you are mentally and the fact that you're already talking mindset and it's something that you want to work on, you're going to add that to the mindset work of how do I cope with this? But that alone is going to make you a better wrestler.
Yeah, I think it's another way I'm gonna have to push myself, and I think overcoming that again is gonna be what helps me, improve and jump to the next level. So I think it's important, and I think it's totally gonna be tough,
Mm.
but I think it's
You do tough things. That's
yeah,
what you do.
it's gonna be what has to happen.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Francesca, for coming on with FerdFit. It was really hard to schedule this, you and I, because we're both busy people, but really thankful for you. Thankful
Yeah,
for
thank
Sam.
you so much for having me.
Yeah, definitely. And I would love to get you on at some point down the road once you start,
Yeah.
going through, because one thing I want to just keep track of with you is just like, how's that mindset training going? Because I think a lot of us, myself included, even though I'm 21 years older than you, we can learn from you. And I think that's a really cool thing that you can offer some other people.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody, for taking the time out of your day to listen to the Herd Fit podcast. Be on the lookout for next week's episode.